You're welcome back to Newsfile. This is your most authoritative news analysis show. And here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. Let's ask questions about what the PNC has issues with. The PNC has issues with its own leader for taking up an ambassadorial job given him by the president, ambassador at large. At first, some people who wanted to do mischief with it began to say that they never heard about that. It took minutes for them to begin to backtrack that it's always been with us. Plenipotentiary, call it whatever. It's always been with us. So, what exactly is the big deal about Dr. Nasiri Mahama's appointment? Let's hear himself, and then we'll hear Victor Beho, former ambassador, what he also has to say about it.
Well, some elements in the party were obviously in the know and encouraged me to go ahead with it. Others were not. But the proper thing, because, you know, when the president was forming his government, appointing people, names were bundled here and there. I waited for the confirmation. So I'm now going to call a meeting of the standing committee of the party, that's the day-to-day administrative body of the party, and inform them of what the offer is and what I'm going to be doing and how it may or may not impact on the party. First, they misunderstand the role that I'm going to play. Secondly, I will give them the chance and appear at the meeting that we will do. And after I have told the meeting what the position is, and they have had the chance to deliberate, I'm sure that I'll be vindicated. I'm sure anybody called upon by the sitting president to do anything for Ghana, he didn't say, come and work for MPP. He said, come and be an ambassador of Ghana. I think it's an honor, and I thank him very much.
It's not the first time such a position, has been created. All across the world, in international diplomacy, we have ambassadors at large. Ghana is no exception. The president might have seen something in Dr. Edward Mahama. That's why he's appointed him. We all know the role he's played in Ghana, and I think that he's going to do a very good job. And like he told you earlier, he's not there representing the interests of the president. He's representing the interests of the country. Of course, the president is the head of the country and head of the nation, but he's there as a Ghanaian first, seeking the interests of this country. So I'm sure that he's going to do a very, very good job, and almost everybody is acknowledging that, this appointment is in good order.
All right, so you heard Dr. Nasiri Mahama, PNC leader, now ambassador at large, and also Charles Oredu, Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister, and not Victor Beho, as I indicated earlier. Now, the president had outdoored, or as it were, giving a number of people their commissioned them to go into various places. Mrs. Selma Frances Mansell, Igala, Turkey. Mr. Paul Oko, Egypt. Mrs. Mercy Bampoado, Malta. Mr. Kwesi Owusu Yeboah, Togo. Miss Sophia Honasam, Netherlands. Miss Amele Olenu Owua Asamoah, Denmark. Miss Elizabeth Salamatu Fogo, Namibia. Then Fogo is a name. It sounds also like a place in the US. Then Mr. Joseph Ayikwe Otu, Canada. I saw him in court, and that's the question I was asking. What are you doing in court? Napoleon Abdullahi, Cuba. Margaret Equia Pra, Zambia. Miss Esther Jifa Ofori, Equatorial Guinea. Professor Abena Pokua A. Buzia, Brazil. Miss Paulina Patience Abayaji.
Abayake.
Here is spelled as Abayaji, but it's supposed to be Abayate. Italy. And then Mr. George A.C. Boateng. George A.C. Boateng. Okay. South Africa. Na Bolinana Saka, Burkina Faso. Mr. Mike Ni Norte Okwe Jr. India. And Sheikh T.B. Damba, Saudi Arabia. Mr. William Azuma Awina Door, okay, Kanyirige, Ethiopia, and Rashid Seidu Inusa, ambassador at large. So 2 ambassadors at large. How do you understand the PNC's problems? They actually say Dr. Mahama should be punished.
Well, yeah, something. Normally, under these circumstances, you would want to remember Professor Mills of blessed memory. His funeral, his anniversary is just was just this weekend. We didn't want to remember him, but we would have wanted to deal with Fiasem and say that the PNC should handle it all matter. But it's very intriguing the angles that they are coming from. If you listen to Atik and Bernard Moda
and the chairman and the secretary,
yeah, they are of the view that, look, one, you should have run this appointment by us, even before accepting. Dr. Mahama seems to have taken a different view that, oh, I want the appointment to come, then I inform you. But they say that, look, it amounts to double standards because in the past, when others have gone through the same route, Dr. Mahama actually punished them. He punished them, he ensured that they were punished. And therefore, and they think that, yes.
Names given?
Yeah, they gave some number of them. And then, so they said that, look, for that reason alone, they think that he should also be punished. And some are even saying that they should expel him from the party and things like that. But that, I think, that, like I said, is the Wufiasem. They should go and handle their own house matter. Now, it's clear that the appointment is not novel. It's always been there. And I think the last one was Douglas Bani.
Yeah.
When he was removed as chief of staff, yeah. He was made ambassador extraordinaire, something potentially. And he used to be very. Anytime when I went to the consultation, he comes from my adjoining consultation. My people would say, "Where is our extraordinaire?" So really, I think that, look, I am ready to grant the president the right. He has the right to appoint his people, his ministers, his ambassadors, and anybody he wants to serve in this government. He has a constitutional mandate to do so. If he chooses Dr. Mahama, so be it. Maybe I saw it, the moment I heard it, I knew that it was a political stroke to give an inclination that,
all-inclusiveness?
All-inclusiveness. But as to whether this really fits the bill, I'm not too sure. But hey, like I said, the president can appoint you tomorrow. You have a right to say, thank you very much, Mr. President, but I want to do something else.
Right.
Or I take it up and I want to serve the nation. So that's where I'll leave it. PNC should go and handle their house matter.
Okay. Now, his answer to the PNC is this, that, look, he's not appointing me through the vehicle of the PNC as a party. And that's the previous situations where you would say you need to consult with the party. In this case, he's appointing me because of what I bring. So this is an individual thing. Is he right, really?
Taking into account what happened in 2001 when we won, I would say he is. Because at that time, those who came on board from other parties, they didn't come because of who they were, but their parties were offered, that opportunity with the names of these intended people given. And then the parties, went through it and then gave the endorsement. But looking at the position these two personalities who have already been mentioned, Bernard Mona and then my own brother Atik, have taken, I cannot speak to the workings of the PNC. And Dr. Edwin Mahama has indicated clearly that he, like you've said, was invited to come on board as per who he is and not because he was a PNC flag bearer. But again, with regards to their party, I don't know whether if they have any regulations in place where if you were given this type of an offer, you needed to come report to the party. Again, you would have heard him say that some elements, and I'm quoting him, some elements within the party knew, and that he was waiting to get things done properly before he comes out, to make it known.
Because you could always be swept.
Absolutely. I mean, it's happened. I mean, in situations where people even had appointment letters to go to certain places, and the next moment, it changed.
So what happened at the time was that people were quick to put the appointment letters on social media to advertise it.
But I mean, some suffered it, so it still did not, save the situation. So getting back into this issue, I think that if you take the position these senior members of the PNC have taken, it comes up as a matter of a bit of a worry to me, because we've seen membership of their party serve on both previous NPP and NDC governments. In 2001, we had Honorable Moses Daniba, who was a deputy minister. Then 2009, when they came, you had Honorable Azong from Bulsa South, who was a minister of state. And I think he served for the 2 terms, the NDC found themselves in office. So it is not something that, should be seen. Absolutely. It's not something that is coming as a novelty that, we should make it look as if something, well, like I'm saying, I cannot speak to their issues within their own setup. And like George has indicated, this is about something you would have said, Dufiasem. This is not something that is public, but you see, when you get to see some of these pronouncements that are being made, and then you know what it is that has happened behind the scenes, there are certain people within that establishment have come lobbying for positions, and then all of a sudden you see them take this, moral high ground, chastising the good old doctor. I wonder where this thing would land.
Certain people, who are these in the PNC who have come lobbying for?
Absolutely the PNC, but I'm not going to mention
who are these.
If they're listening and watching, they know something. They know.
I see.
So these things, for me, I mean, they are saying they would meet and then look into the matter. We would wait and see what sanctions or decisions they are going to come up with regards to this appointment that has been offered Dr. Mahama. The last bit that I want to bring in is how people try to ridicule.
So this is what do you call it? All inclusiveness.
I don't know whether if the president has made this publicly that he is coming up with this all inclusiveness. Just like George wanted to put out. I think if Ghanaians are in place and they can serve in the
government... He can't say it because it is not.
Well, you have asked that question and I'm giving you an answer from what I know. I haven't heard the president...
110 ministers and how many?
I haven't heard the president...
But this Mahama is insisting that he is there on his own merit.
Right.
Obviously,
I mean, those who try to ridicule this whole appointment and didn't even know. Sometimes we need to take our time.
Okay.
See, we shouldn't do things because we think that it's coming from a certain political angle, and so we want to do or make comments to, make it look as if
it's
never happened before.
Thank you, and let's hear what Kuku has to say about this, and briefly.
Yes, I'm glad you said briefly. But you see, the Dr. Mahama angle, I think there was a certain element of error of judgment on his part.
On his part?
Yes. Relative to the PNC orbit of things, not accepting that point.
Okay.
The point he's making about some key persons new. The chairman and the general secretary are not key persons in the party structure. They are.
But, is it to say that these key persons he's mentioning probably are not these ones who are out there talking?
But they say they are not.
They said they were not aware.
They are talking.
They have come out to say they
have come out talking.
Anyway.
Okay, and that's why making that they're making. And so you wait. It's true that the president may not have firmed up the appointment, but there were discussions of some sort. And you were waiting for the announcement, the appointment to be publicized, to be announced before you call a meeting. Look, what do you lose if you drop hands to the key elements, including chairman and general secretary, and the thing doesn't even happen? You lose nothing, because it would all have been still on the quiet.
Right.
So you don't say, oh, I consulted some key persons, minus excluding chairman and general secretary, wait for the appointment to be announced publicly. You seen taking pictures with the president before you call a standing committee meeting. It's an internal thing, I agree, but it is not good leadership.
Right.
I think that we should be fair on that point. I was surprised though, the reaction of the chairman and general secretary too was like embarrassing their leader and all the rest. But you can understand.
But from what you said also, it is not also possible that he just woke up one morning and he was told this afternoon you will be commissioned.
Yes, no way. There's no way. That's not the way.
So there was a confirmation at a certain point, and he could have reached out to these people.
When he got up early morning and was dressing up in his majestic thing, go to the house seat of government to take the appointment, as it were, something had happened a week or two before then.
Right.
So to that extent, I don't think one can commend him too much. And he's a very elderly person,
right?
Very, wise man. But in this case, the decision was not.
They're suggesting that beyond punishment, they could expel him. What does he stand to lose if he's expelled?
Well,
some say he's contested Ghana's elections for how long?
4 or 5 times.
This obviously is the only opportunity he has to serve the country.
Mugabe, presidential candidate in terms of being Mugabe. Yes, but no, he's somebody I respect. He's very dignified, comes out with dignity and all the rest. On this call, I think politically he erred by not doing effective consultation.
My question is, what does he lose if he's expelled as the
I'll be surprised if the party takes that kind of extreme action. Look, they should call the standing committee meeting, as they say, get a brief from him, tell him he was wrong in terms of the detail.
So he gets a reprimand.
Yes, by the president's appointment, I have nothing against it. I think it's in order.
Okay.
It may not be what you see as all inclusiveness, to the extent that if you are looking at the numbers, it's so minute,
They say you say that he has said that he's going to serve at the behest of the president.
Yes.
Because that's what it is.
Yes.
They have policies that are at variance with the NPP.
Look, foreign policy, Ghana.
Because he's not going to go only foreign. He says he could also work inside the country.
Yeah, but it will be basically foreign policy related. This country, we've come a long way where we've come to a certain consensus on our foreign policy direction.
Okay.
We may emphasize the economic diplomacy or some other aspect, but essentially, the basic pillars of our foreign policy, which Nkrumah laid down, have guided almost all of us. On some specific incidents and events, some of them differ. But there isn't much of an ideological dichotomy relative to our foreign policy orientation as a nation. So that argument really doesn't come in. Right. He may have to say that, look here, in view of my new position, I am stepping down voluntarily as leader of the party, because he may not have the time and space to be doing active politics. Okay, yes, rather than going to a meeting and them coming out to say that they've dismissed or suspended him, I think it's a bit too harsh.
Right.
And we've, fortunately, as you said, people like Mr. Behu intervene and things. Yes, he's an authority, indeed, an institution when it comes to our international relations and things. So I'm happy they came in to
what do you understand to be what he's supposed to do, really?
Well, first of all, I'm a bit surprised that a person of the caliber of Mr. Mahama will have to consult other people. Is it to seek for their consent or permission?
He's in a party.
Yes, but that is why I always say that it's also about the misconception we make about governments in this country. Political parties don't form government. I mean, an individual who has been elected the president, vested with executive power, we maybe whine about the fact that there is winner-take-all sort of system in this country. And everybody has expressed his displeasure about it, and they have offered alternatives. Now, the president has crossed the bridge to the other side to invite one key person to the government, whether to play the role of an ambassador or whoever. And we are the same people are also complaining that why are you inviting other people? And in this case, it's not even the MPP people.
I think the drift of the complaint is that why didn't you tell us that at least you've been given this opportunity, rather than saying that why have you accepted an appointment? Or if you like, why have you accepted it without reference to us?
But now they include why have you accepted it, because you're going to have to work at the direction of the president.
And
this president's policies are not the same as ours.
Voluntarily.
Okay.
It's not even true. This difference in policy. This is the PNC's own manifesto 2016. Goal of the this is the APC. But when I checked, there's not much difference. They were complaining about the
this is the APC.
That's what I'm saying. But I went to.
But
the
you are
PNC
told
first.
that this APC policy objectives is a plagiarism. So you can read it and consider that it is PNC.
No, I'm saying that I have gone to PNC's one, and the objectives are not different. They were complaining about poor economic management.
I was only inviting you to read because you stopped reading.
No.
There's no difference.
No.
But how could you be having as a host and you're looking at somebody?
So my point is, we all want a strong economy. We want social services to be managed in a way that we can all benefit from. What is the difference? I don't even see any difference in terms of the policies of the various presidents from Rawlings to now.
Okay.
They have all pitched their objective on one, maybe fundamental human rights being strengthened, and also provision of social services. So when one person at that level has been invited to say that you disagree because he didn't consult you, could you have restrained him from taking it, or it was just to inform you? But to consult you in a way means that you have even the capacity to ask him not to accept. I think that it is not the best approach. Political parties are not only supposed to win elections, they are also to influence their political decisions. And if one person has been invited by the president, so he can also benefit from your so-called different objectives, why are we also complaining? It is not even a plus for that party that he will also.
But some are complaining that Bernard Mona should be the last to be saying anything about this because he enjoyed, President Mahama's
allegation of vehicle.
Not beyond that,
Well, no, it will not be fair to him unless we give further better particulars.
That's an allegation of the vehicles. Somebody in the party.
Yes,
I said an allegation, but it was an allegation which related.
No, but it's trending on social media, so
yeah,
you are saying
it's an allegation.
I
It's
don't
not
think
proven.
it's fair.
It's not proven.
But that's
It's
not
not
something.
proven.
Okay.
Please, my point is that we should rather encourage. That's the members of the other parties. Rather encourage their leaders to benefit or become the beneficiaries of appointments like this, so they can even share and benefit also from the so-called different
How
objectives.
can I encourage you if you don't consult me?
All right. Okay, so that means we take a break. When we return, we will finally conclude by whining on In the Diaspora Way. We'll be right back.
Yeah.